All right, let's do this. Coming from someone who has no work-life balance whatsoever, we're going to compare work-life balance in both venture capital and private equity. Now, whether you are watching this video because you are, aiming to work in these industries in the future, or you're just plain interested, I think it's a good thing. And sooner or later, everybody who's ambitious and everybody who's aiming for big goals in his life ends up being in kind of an investing role. And then it's very valuable if you know who you're up against and how much these people work. So, very simple. For both venture capital and private equity, the bigger the fund, the more you work, as a rule of thumb, okay? Why is that? Isn't that too simple? The thing is, if you are working at a mega fund, okay, so you have two mega funds competing for a deal in private equity, let's say, you know exactly that this other fund, they are busting their asses, they're working 80 to 100 hours per week in order to extract value from a certain deal. I mean, it's not like you have, a deal comes onto your table and you say, okay, I invest in it or I don't. Nobody else, and like the target is patiently waiting. It's like these funds, they're competing for the same deals and they have big teams of past investment bankers who are used to heavy workload working on these deals. So the whole thing becomes an arms race of small teams working on deals and trying to find an edge that makes the deal worth investing in. So they are thinking about what's an operating edge. They are traveling to see the management, or some heavy traveling involved in it. They trying to figure out how much they can lever the deal. And so everybody is busting their asses in order to earn a carry. Now for smaller funds, that's a little bit different because smaller funds don't have quite as much competition. So as a smaller fund, I would say $500 million to $1 billion asset under management. That's something, US dollars. That's something where I would say, okay, lifestyle will generally be a bit better, and it can be enormously better for some funds. Because here you have an existing network, you have much closer relationships with the management of the firms that you're talking to. You have less competition, you're more specialized on certain types of deals, and all of that contributes to the analysts and the associates working much less on different types of deals. Can it be stressful in these kinds of funds? Of course, like if investment decisions are to be made, when deals come around and there's the hot phase of the deal, then of course people work more, but as a rule of thumb, it will be a little bit less than for these mega funds that are highly in very strong competition to each other. Now, if you go online and you search for, what's the work-life balance, you don't see a lot of people posting in communities being like, hey, work-life balance is great, I work 50 hours or 60 hours and that's it. You will hear much more from people who have very bad experience and work very long hours in these private equity shops most of the times. That's very simple because at these big firms, you stay anonymous, right? They have a churn rate. A lot of their analysts, they just burn through, they get out. And for an analyst like this, it's easy to write an opinion online and be like, hey, this firm sucks and work is much too high and I got a burnout, because it's difficult to identify them. For smaller funds, even if you want to say something positive, so you want to be like, hey, like this fund, name X, is a great one, we have a great work-life balance, you're basically giving up your anonymity. Because these funds, say $500 million to $1 billion asset under management, they are going to have 1 to 3 analysts, 1 to 3 associates, something within that range. It's not like these are huge funds. Whenever you post anything online, be it positive or negative, chances are it gets discovered, and PE funds try to be, on the buy side, they try to be as secretive as possible, and they have good reasons for that. So that being said, if you are someone looking for great work-life balance, or let's say for okay work-life balance, private equity can be something interesting for you. Venture capital can be something interesting for you. Don't be discouraged by all the opinions you hear from ex-Apollo employees who are like, this totally sucks and it's excruciatingly painful. There are many shops out there that offer good work-life balance. Is it always true? No, I mean, here we're also talking about venture capital here in Shanghai, where I'm situated right now. It is a smaller firm. We have a bit more than 40 people. We're working on venture building stuff. So we're taking equity in startups and providing them with operational involvement. We help them operationally. We help them localize their business model. So coming from abroad into China, we help them localize their business model. We help them scale up, find the right customers, partners, and so on. And we work more, for example. I mean, I work a lot, and I would estimate my hours that I spend with just this business, with my role of head of the startup accelerator here at XNode, at like 80 hours. And then you add all the other things I do on the side and the other businesses that I'm involved with. And I made a video about that in the past. And you're easily at 100 hours. So I'm basically working all the time, but I'm enjoying it. For me, it's really something that's very rewarding. And I feel like the process of progressing towards a goal that I have is something that makes me very happy. That's why I enjoy work. Now, another big piece of advice that I want to give is if you are someone that's looking for work-life balance and you have, there's many people who want decent work-life balance. They want to have time for their boyfriend, for their girlfriend, for their family, and so on. Take a look at family offices, because these can be big funds, really assets under management a lot, but at the same time, decent work-life balance. So family offices might be something that you should take a look at. Also here, it differs from family office to family office. So the final piece of advice really is, for each fund, whether it is VC, whether it is PE, you need to do your due diligence. Maybe you will be able to find something online about these guys. Chances are, if it is a smaller fund, you're not going to be able to find something. So then it's really about talking to the people, talking to competing funds, trying to get in touch with them via LinkedIn, talking to the people that you're interviewing with, for example. Try to be honest. Tell them, how much work is it? And just be honest, straight up front, and bring your point across. And then there's huge possibilities in this space for you. But if you plan to outwork people, join me in Shanghai. Now, one thing I would recommend is you watch my video on VC versus private equity or private equity versus VC. That's a nice one to get into the differences between both professions, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. Bye bye, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. If you don't, leave a like anyways. Thanks.